All right. Oh, I'm gonna start my own playlist over here. Okay. So for practice today, you will need a strap or a scarf or a belt or something of this general physical makeup. We'll do, yeah, that's perfect. We're gonna do a bunch of hamstring stuff, mostly because I really need it. And setting an intention with practice this week, a lot of H words. Heart, hamstring, honesty. I just drew this connection. I'm reading this Bell Hooks book about love. It's just a series of essays that she wrote. And this section is on, what was it called? Honesty, being true to love. And I love this one sentence. The heart of justice is truth-telling. Seeing ourselves and the world the way it is rather than the way we want it to be. The heart of justice is truth-telling. Seeing ourselves and the world the way it is rather than the way we want it to be. I heard someone say once that that lying is taking away someone else's agency, that it stops them from being able to make the right decisions because they're operating on mistruths or incomplete truths. And so it struck me when I read Bell Hooks' words that this is the heart of justice. And really, it's absolutely pivotal in order to have a good, loving relationship with anybody, including ourselves, possibly first and foremost ourselves, to be able to just simply be honest and to be with what really is, because we can get so stuck in the idea of oh no, I can totally do all of the things in this amount of time. No, I can't. That one is on me. And, maybe not necessarily being fully honest with how our bodies are feeling or what our bodies need or what our hearts need. But if we're able to be in tune with that, even in the uncomfortable places of that, that's when we're really able to get deeper, to create something a little bit more intimate in the connection with ourselves and with others. So there's that, in yoga we say Satya, which is truthfulness. And that is not necessarily just don't tell a bunch of lies. It's that effort to really be with what is, to be with little dog flying across screen. So let's get started getting into this practice of being just honest and here with our bodies. So with your index finger and your thumb together, start at the center of your forehead and brush outwards towards your temples a few times. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones, and your temples down to your chin, along your jawline, and the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh lines. Massaging underneath and behind your ears. There's a little soft spot back there that feels kind of nice to wiggle around. And then above the little soft spots is a bony spot. There are two bony spots, and you can lift up on those to feel a little bit taller through your spine. Staying lifted as you rest your hands into your lap and take a few deep breaths. Also using this time to tune into what is, to take the honest, careful survey of your body, how you're feeling or what you might need throughout this time. another deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 Oms. Taking your arms in front of you and taking one elbow on top of the other. And from here you can hug your shoulders or just leave your elbows locked together. If it feels comfortable to wrap your hands around each other, you can do that too. And then feel that space behind your ears lift up as you press your elbows down and forward. And get a nice big stretch behind your shoulders. Stay here as you take 2 more long, deep breaths. Unwind your elbows and wrap the other one up on top. So holding or hucking or wrapping the fingers around each other, and then pressing the elbows together and forward, feeling the backs of your ears lift up tall. Taking 2 more long, deep breaths. As you unwind your hands, take them back behind you. I like to go thumbs forward and fingertips back so that you can kind of feel the arm bones start to roll backwards, giving a little bit more space for you to lift your chest up. Feeling your heart rising up into the front and the top of your rib cage, maybe taking your gaze up. And take 2 more deep breaths in this place. Maybe feeling some movement around your rib cage, your lungs. Relax that heart opening, come back to neutral, and then you're going to swing your legs out in front of you. I'm just going to face sideways so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll grab your strap or strap-like device, and you'll just take one leg and extend it out, and you're going to take the strap and loop it around the bottom of your foot. Once you've got it looped around the bottom of your foot, you're going to use that to lengthen your leg. So like usually that's my leg and it's kind of straight, but if I fully really straighten my leg, it's a slightly different thing. Right, you can see a little bit longer. And looking down at your quadricep, the muscle on the top of your thigh, the inside corner of your knee, there's a little part of your quad that only fires up when you have the leg completely straight, which for a lot of us is actually really hard to do because you might not usually completely straighten your leg. So if it gets a little intense or that muscle gets sore and you need to relax for a little while, relax, but then try to go back into it. So it's a little bit of hard work. We will do more satisfying ones, I promise. We're going to do a little bit of this leg straightening kind of exercise. Take 2 more breaths, trying to keep the leg as straight as you can for that time. And then relax that effort to stay straight. It's just a little bit more comfortable. And then from there you have a little bit more softness in the hamstrings through which you might be able to pull your heart a little bit closer towards your foot. Take another deep breath in. Let something soften when you exhale. And then relax that grip on your strap. Go ahead and lift yourself up and just switch to the other leg so that you've got your strap wrapped around the foot. I like to wrap the ends of the strap around my hand just because it seems to give me a little bit easier of a grip around the foot. And then this leg that you've got extended out in front of you, try to make it as straight as possible. You don't need to worry about going forward over the leg. You can just stay lifted and stay in a place that's comfortable. It's a little bit hard to keep that muscle fired up if you're not used to doing it. So a little bit, then back off, a little bit back off. Give yourself what you need. One more breath. And then relax the effort to keep the leg straight. You can kind of soften it, and then with that, the hamstring's a little softer and you have a little bit more room to draw yourself forward. And we don't usually completely straighten the leg, so that just means we don't completely extend the hamstring, which will also make it tighter. Just not being able to use its full range of motion. So it's one of the reasons I like to do the straightening exercise. Also, it's a really good way to tone that muscle that you don't often use, and it just kind of helps to keep knees a lot heavier. This is great. Some of the most useful advice I've ever gotten from physical therapists was that little exercise. One more breath out. And then relax yourself out of the fold. Go ahead and take a strap and set it down to your side, and then you're going to come down onto your elbows. So you're going to come down to where your elbows are underneath your shoulders. I'm just going to leave my legs in whatever place is comfortable for them. And as you push down into your elbows, feel your heart lifting up towards the front of your rib cage again. Maybe you feel those arm bones rolling back, and it's a similar sensation to when you were reaching the fingertips back and your heart up and forward. So instead of like resting into your shoulders, you really want to press the elbows down, and then your heart starts to come, like up above your shoulders a little bit more. And one more breath in. And then go ahead and soften your heart down so that you can lay down onto your back, and then you're going to grab your strap again, and you're going to take it around one of your feet. Doesn't matter, we'll just do both sides. So looping it around your foot, you might be able to wrap the ends of the strap around again, and then I would say probably leave your other leg bent so it'll be a little bit more comfy, because we're going to do the straightening the leg exercise again. So this is not the one where you're trying to bring the leg in close to your face. We'll do that one in a moment. It's not going to be comfortable or pleasant if you're trying to do that with a fully straight leg. It's probably honestly not the most comfortable and pleasant thing to just try to keep your leg fully straight, but we only got about 2 more breaths of doing that. Just try to extend that leg as much as you can. And then relax the effort to keep the leg fully straight. So just give it a little bit of softness, and then see if it's comfortable or interesting to bring that leg closer in towards your torso. Try not to do that at the expense of lifting the hips up and tilting the pelvis. Let the pelvis be heavy, and just see how far the leg wants to come in. One more breath out. And then whatever leg you've got wrapped around with the strap, you're going to put both ends of the strap into the same hand. So I've got my left leg and my left hand, and then you're going to roll over to the other side. So I've got this leg up in the air. Yep. You want to try to leave it up in the air as much as you can. If you can get the leg pretty straight, go for it. If that top hip is kind of rolling up towards your armpit, try to roll that hip down away from your armpit. And if a little bit of softness in the bend of the knee would let you bring that leg in closer towards your body, go ahead and give yourself a little bit of softness. Let your leg be a little bit heavier. Give yourself one more exhale. And then go ahead and roll yourself onto your back again as you take the strap off of your foot, and then switch to the other side, so you'll take it around the other foot. Maybe wrap your hands around like that little boxer tape kind of alignment. And then we start with the really, really straight legs, the one that's not worrying about getting close to your face, the one where you give yourself the space to take breaks in the really hard quad exercise that you're doing. It may be a little bit uncomfortable at times, but it's good for building up some strength and support and creaky joints. Take 2 more breaths. And relax that leg a little bit. So you put a little bend into it. Let the hamstrings soften. So there's a little bit more room to start bringing the leg in closer towards your body. But it doesn't have to be a lot of room. It could just feel a little bit different the way that you're holding it. One more breath out. And then you're going to take both ends of the strap, so same arm, same leg, and then roll to the other hip so that you're laying with your leg up in the air and you're laying on your side. And then if you feel like your hip is crunchy or your hip is crunching up towards your armpit, go ahead and roll that leg bone down to the bottom of your hip, or roll your cheek away from your armpit. And try to bring that leg a little bit closer towards your torso. Or you can make leg straight. It's kind of up to you. Just get a little bit more hamstring opening with some inner thigh opening. One more breath out. And then come back to your back. Take the strap off of your foot. You can move that off to your side. Won't need it for a while, if at all. And then set your feet down a little bit wider than your hips. Take your arms and reach them back behind you. I like to hold on to opposite elbows, but if that feels crunchy in your shoulders, just go ahead and leave your arms flapped open. Your feet are apart, your knees are going to stay apart, but both of your knees are going to roll over towards the right side. And your left knee is probably not going to be anywhere near the ground. You don't really want it to be because it won't be comfy. You just want to feel that thigh opening up, the front of the left thigh. Try to relax your inner armpits if you happen to be holding opposite elbows. One more breath out. And then bringing yourself back to the center. If you get there and feel a little uneven, give yourself a wiggle, so you'll wiggle yourself back to neutral. And then with the legs still apart, take the knees over towards the left. Now it's the front of the right thigh that's going to be opening up more. Give your arm bones a chance to relax inside of the arm sockets. Softening the muscles in your face. Letting the front of that hip open up. One more breath out. And then come back to the center. You're now going to bring your feet a little bit closer together so that they're more like hip width apart, but still up nice and close to your hips. Take your arms down by your sides. And then start to snuggle your shoulder blades underneath your heart, so your heart is starting to lift up. And go ahead and leave everything down, but just push your arms down a little bit more so you feel that lift of your heart up towards the front of your ribs. And then we're going to push down into the feet and lift the hips up. Maybe now you can wiggle the arm bones underneath your chest a little bit more. If you like to hold hands underneath your back, go ahead and do that. Keep lifting your heart up into the front of your rib cage. try to push into all parts of your feet. And then relax your arms and relax that lift of your hips until your hips come back down onto the floor. And then after that one round of bridge pose, we'll do a second round of bridge pose, pushing into your feet, maybe wiggle the arm bones under again. Try to find the weight planted evenly across all four corners of the feet. The heart lifting up and out, almost like it's going to fall into your nose. One more breath in. And then relax your shoulders, start to lower your hips down. Bring your knees into your chest. You're going to rock yourself up to a seat. And I'll face you on this one. You're going to take your right shin and bring it kind of parallel to the front of your space, so it's kind of laid out in front of you. And then let your left leg go back as much as you can. And you're going to start to bring your body forward over your shin. The tendency is going to want to go over your thigh. So it's different than pigeon pose where I've got both hips up. This one's going to get a little bit more into your outer thigh. So I'm sitting all the way over on the hip, and then this leg is a little bit more open. And then I'm going to start bringing my heart towards my shin. And it's really intense in your outer hamstrings and outer hips a little bit, sorry. Just go as far as it feels good. You got a little bit more space, you might move into that. And just take 2 more breaths. Start to walk your hands back up so you'll lift yourself off of your leg. This leg that you tucked back pretty far behind you, go ahead and bring it up and forward, and just make sure that you didn't bring your foot in by your hips. You want like a good sized pizza slice shape back there, and then leave that left knee down as you lean back away from it, and maybe you even press your hip up, and if that feels great, stay there. If you want to come down to your elbows, you can come down to your elbows. If it would feel good for you to lay all the way down onto your back, go ahead and do that, but try to keep the left knee kind of moving down towards the floor, if not mostly in contact with the floor. One more breath in and out. And especially if you're real far back, go ahead and take your left arm, cross it over your right arm, give yourself a little doggy paddle to lift yourself all the way back up. And then you're going to move over to the other hip, swinging your legs to the other side. You'll be sitting over on your left hip, let that right leg go as far back behind you as is reasonable. And then your shin is open, and you start to take yourself forward over your shin. Just giving your hips, your outer thighs some time to relax some of the stiffness there. One more breath, softening as you exhale. And start to lift yourself up, and this leg that you've slid back, you're going to bring it in a little closer. Make sure you still got that good pizza slice kind of space between your foot and your hip, and start walking your hands back. Leave that right knee down. You can lift the right hip up. You can come to one or both elbows, or eventually go back a little bit further than that if you've got space for it. Going the whole front side of your quad and your hip flexor, lengthening, opening, stretching. One more breath in. and out. And your back arm, your right arm crossed over you. Start to walk yourself up, and then continue bringing yourself all the way up onto your hands and knees. And you're going to spread your fingers out, push from your heart into your hands so you feel a lot of power in your upper back. Curl your toes under and press back to a downward dog. Make sure you keep your fingertips open. You can always bend your knees to give your hamstrings a little bit more space to open up. If you want to walk around your heels or wiggling your hips around at all, do whatever you need to help feel this shape open up for you. Still strong across the upper back and widening the fingertips. Start to become a little more still if you haven't already, and just take a moment to soak in how the shape is feeling. And then gently lower your knees down, but keep your toes curled under. We're going to do a little fascia stretch. It's only going to be a stretch of the feet. You're just going to walk your hands back towards broken toe pose. If you wanted to do all the way broken toe, you could, but I don't find that it's even necessary because this is still stretching out the bottoms of the feet quite well. And then once you get the bottoms of the feet relaxed, it kind of helps the whole back fascia chain of the body relax. So walk your hands forward again. Lift your hips back up in a down dog and notice if anything feels a little bit different. It may not have been completely magic, but it could be a little bit of sleight of hand there. And then you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet so that you find a forward fold. Get to a place where you definitely have your weight all the way on your feet. And then give your knees a little bit extra bend so you've created a little bit more softness in your hamstrings. And maybe that allows you to soften into this fold just a little bit more fully. One more breath out. Start walking your hands up your body and come on up to standing. And when you get to standing, taking your right foot forward and finding a warrior one shape. Taking your arms up. Make sure that your back leg is really, really straight so you can fully lengthen through the front side of that hip, the front side of that thigh. And then we're going to lengthen it a little bit more. Your left leg is back, so bend your left arm and then bring your right hand to your left elbow and see if you can reach that left elbow up a little bit higher. And as you do that and push a little bit more into your left foot, you'll feel a little bit more space opening. Again, the front of the thigh, the front of the hip. One more exhale. And release your arms. Go ahead and straighten your front leg and try to get it really straight so you're firmly standing on both of your feet. If you feel a little bit uncentered, try bringing your feet a little bit closer together. I definitely just, that extra inch that I scooched up made a big difference. And then take your arms, interlace your hands back behind you, and then start to lift your chest up and forward into the fronts of your ribs. Now push both of your feet down. It'll probably help to balance your hips. And keep the legs straight and keep your heart lifted. And if your ego starts to protest, you just tell it can take a nap for now because you're going to try to come forward with your heart as much as you are able to with the heart lifted and both of your legs pretty darn straight and pretty darn strong. And maybe you're even still breathing. One more exhale. And then come back up, relax your arms. You can soften this front leg a little bit. You're going to come forward into a fold. You can hold your fingertips to your shins. You can grab blocks. You could allow yourself to bend the leg as much as is reasonably helpful for you to relax your hamstring and let your body really soften into this fold. You even take a moment to try to relax the back of your neck. And then feel a little bit more pressure in the feet. Maybe even walk your hands back up your body as you come up to standing. Bend back into your front legs so you find that warrior one. Lift your arms up. Take a really big breath in. And then bring your hands to your heart, lean forward, step forward into a little chair pose. So you're going to bring your left foot right up into the inside of your right foot, and then try to relax both of your hips down and back. And then straighten your legs, lift yourself up. Take your left foot and bring it forward, your right foot to bring it back, and find your warrior one on the other side. When you get there, lifting your arms up. Try to find that space where your back leg is pretty straight. You get your toes facing forward on that back leg enough. Opening up through the front of the thigh, the front of the hip. And your right leg is back, so you'll bend your right arm, hold on to the right elbow, lift that right elbow up, and then push even more into your right foot. So you're creating lots of space open on the front of the hip, the front of the torso. One more inhale. One more exhale. And release your arms. Go ahead and straighten your front leg. If you feel a little weird, go ahead and adjust the feet. Take your hands back behind you. Lift your heart out in front of you. Try to keep both feet pressing down, both legs straight, and your heart open, and the breath moving as you move the heart forward, and feel probably some pretty deep intensity into the hamstring. You're using a lot of things right around it. There's a lot going on. It's a little spicy. Give it one more exhale. And then back it off for a moment so you can relax your arms. Relax, especially that front leg. Come forward, hands to the floor, or one hand to the floor, or grab some blocks, or whatever you need to support yourself. Give yourself permission to soften the things that don't seem like they want to soften. One more breath out. And find the standing on your feet as you lift yourself back up. Bend back into your front leg. Lift your arms up. Find warrior one. Nice and long and lifted through the spine, the heart, the fingertips. One more breath in. And then bring your hands down, lean forward. Bring that back foot up to meet your front foot. 2 feet together, sitting back into a little chair pose. And then on your exhale, see if you can relax your hips down just a little bit more. And then straighten your legs, bring yourself back up. And then you're gonna do a little bit of footwork. So you're gonna take one foot and just kind of like roll around it. So you come kind of up onto the toe side of your foot. And then roll it around the other way. And then you're gonna take that foot back. Come onto the toenail side of your foot as much as you're able, but you gotta stand on the foot that's standing the way that feet are supposed to be stood upon. Right, okay, can speak English. From here, push down into your front foot, the standing foot, and then you're gonna reach your heart up and away from both of your feet, and your fingertips are reaching up and away from both of your feet, and you're real long here. And if you lift your inner thighs, it's going to help you stay a little bit more balanced. And then keeping that much length in your spine, go ahead and bring your hands into your heart, but you want to keep lifting your heart up and out. And you're going to start to reach your heart forward, but now you're going to reach those toes back. And don't just drop your heart down and hope that the leg follows. Really extend your heart as far away from your foot as you can. Yeah. Let out an exhale. And then stand yourself back up. And then you'll come to stand on the foot that you were just working and reaching, and then start rolling around on the other foot. So you're working out some of your foot and ankle bones. And after you've worked the ankle bones, the foot bones around in both directions of those circles, you're going to take the foot and bring it back behind you. Come out of the toenail side of your foot. All the weight is on the standing foot. You start to make that back leg a little bit longer, and then start to reach your arms up, feeling your spine get a little bit taller. Wow, balance is weird all of a sudden on this side. My goodness. Good. So you're long and you're lifted, and you stay long and lifted as you bring your hands to your heart, and then you lift your heart up, and you lift the leg up, and you reach the leg back. Try to keep your inner thighs lifted. Nice and long, maybe even still long with the breath. And then go ahead and stand yourself up, set your feet down. Wiggle out whatever got kind of weird. Bring your legs out really wide in your space. Love the wiggles. And then the toes go forward, and you're just gonna come down into a fold, just one that feels good to you. So you can keep arms straight, you can try to keep the legs straight, or you can bend the legs, you can fold yourself in as much as you like. Maybe you bring your hands in between your feet. Make sure that the weight stays in your feet. You can even try to push a little bit more into the pinky toes to get a little bit different sensation around the legs and around the shins. One more breath out. And then you're going to start to lift yourself up, gently bringing yourself back up to standing. And you'll come back to where you have both of your feet together or towards each other. Maybe more like hip width is a better thing to say than together. But standing up at the front of your mat space. Press those feet down, lift your arms up, feel your body get nice and long. And then you've got this power in your upper back as you're reaching your heart up and out towards your fingertips. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands down, start to walk your feet back so that you find a downward dog where you've still got that great energy of reaching your heart down into your hands. Give your knees a little bit of a bend to let your hamstrings lengthen, to let your tailbone reach up a little bit higher. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, gently lower your knees down, untuck your toes. Rest back in child's pose. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself up, and you're going to take your legs and you're going to send them out in front of you. And take your right leg and draw it in. If it feels okay to cross it over, do that. And then lift your left toes because it kind of helps to lift the spine. Hook your elbow. Excuse me. And you're going to twist over to the right side. Just a little outer thigh opening. We haven't done a lot of twists today. One more exhale. And relax your twist, unwind your leg, and wrap in the other side. So you'll take the left leg, cross it over if you like. Try to keep the right toes lifted. Hug the left thigh, lift your heart, but soften your belly. One more breath out. And release your twist. Unwind your legs. Send your legs out. You're gonna fold, actually fold your left leg in, but you've got your legs out pretty wide. And then you're gonna go in between your thigh bones forward into a fold. And try to relax this foot as much as you can. You can even deliberately point the toes out if you want to kind of experiment with how that changes the sensation in your hamstring. So just giving yourself some space to relax it and stretch it out. Take 2 more breaths. to lift yourself up and switch the legs. So you've got the other folded in, the other extended out, and then relax your foot, relax your knee as much as you can, really, and bring yourself forward into the fold. Find something to soften as you exhale. One more exhale. And then drawing yourself up, and this time bringing both feet in. Knees out wide. Just hold your legs wherever it's comfortable to you. Lift your spine. Feel your heart moving up and forward into the front of your rib cage again. Another breath in, lifted like this. And then start to bring yourself forward just as much as you like. Feel a little bit, maybe a lot of space that you may have. Maybe you don't have quite as much space as you would like, but you can be honest with yourself about the space that's there, and that's just the way that it is. And that's our practice, is to try to be with what is. One more exhale. And lift yourself up. Extend both of your legs out wide. Start with your hands back behind you, lifting your chest up and forward. Try to lengthen your toes out away from the rest of your body. And if this feels great, you can hang on if you want to walk yourself a little bit further forward and let that be your space. You can hang out. Maybe you start to bring your hands in front of you and lay yourself down towards the floor. One more breath. Start to lift yourself up. Get your legs in a little bit closer. And then you're going to take your hands back behind you. Let your fingertips face forward. Press your feet down. You want them to be about hip width apart, facing forward, a little bit further away than you would for like a bridge pose. You're going to come up into an altar pose. So push into your feet. Just feel the tops of your hips opening up. You can let your head go back if that feels good to you, but it's not necessary. I actually don't really like it myself. One more breath in. And lower your hips down. And then you're going to come down onto your back, and you're going to come into happy baby. So widen your knees out and reach up to grab the outsides of your thighs or the outsides of your feet. If you can grab your peace fingers around your toes, there's something about that that kind of does help relax the feet a little bit more than holding onto the feet. I think it also does something to relax the fascia on the bottom of the feet. So it's not the end of the world, but it's a nice trick to try out. We're going to do a little bit more work in Happy Baby than we probably ever will again for a really long time, but you're going to roll over towards your right side a little bit, and then you're going to let the left leg extend out a little bit more. And if that means you no longer hold on to your foot, just go ahead and hold on to your calf, your lower leg. You don't have to be grabbing onto the toe, and you also don't have to have the leg straight. It just sits straighter. Let the leg be heavy. Give yourself another exhale. And then Bend the left leg again. Roll yourself from the right side all the way over towards the left side. You kind of come down, probably the leg kind of hits. And then the right leg extends out longer than it just was. And then as soon as you've noticed all of the stiffness and the what the fuck that your body kind of responds to this with, just go, it's okay, body. We can just be here. Just kind of explore. One more exhale. And then come back to the center. Now you're going to keep hold of your left foot. Release your right leg. You want to try to get the toes pointed down and the heel pointed up, and you're going to roll over to the right side again. I've got toes down on the floor, heel up in the air. I'm using my right hand to kind of pin my leg down. And then you may get the left leg straight. You may think that that is maybe not where your leg is going today, and it doesn't need to, but if you can get your right leg straight, maybe even pushing down through the tips of your right toes a little bit, there's a whole lot of different stuff to experience. One more breath out. And then bring that right leg back in. Maybe you hold the peace fingers around the toe or hold wherever it's more comfortable. You're gonna release the left leg, turn the toes down, the heel up, roll over to the left side till your left toes touch. Use your left hand to support that leg staying long and rooted, and then you let the right leg open up just as much as is feasible. Doing so, of course, slowly, not trying to dictate what the body might not be super into. One more breath out. And then come back to the center. Go ahead and draw your feet towards each other. Bring your knees in together. Give yourself a little hug. Rock gently side to side. Got one more for us to do, but wanted to give a little break to the hammies and the hips first. Try to take your knees back out, reach your feet up. You can bring the peace fingers around the big toes. You can do that. Now your hips, sometimes we're like lifting the knees up to the armpits. Don't worry about how close the knees are to the armpits. Try to let your hips be really heavy. And then just like before when I said try to bring your heels up and your toes down, you're going to start to extend the legs. Just make them longer. They do not have to get straight. Maybe your heels stay pointed up a little bit more towards the ceiling. And whenever you can soften on your exhale, let that be your work for the next 2 breaths. And release your feet, bringing them back towards each other, bringing your knees back towards each other. Give yourself a little hug again. Gently rock from side to side, letting the inner thighs reconnect again after darn near being pulled apart. And set your feet down, let your knees knock against each other. You might place a hand on your belly and a hand on your heart just to tune in with how you're feeling. Anything in your body that you feel differently about than when you took that survey at the beginning, or anything that you notice is quite similar. You don't still have those arms there. And then let your legs roll over towards the right side. You might even kind of stack your knees if that's comfy to you. Open your arms. Give a little wiggle of your rib cage a little bit more open towards the left. Your left shoulder might get a little softer. If you need to adjust your legs, if this feels too tight, just open things back up. But let your belly soften when you exhale. more breath out. Then bring your legs over towards the other side. You might need to adjust your rib cage again. Wiggle something in the legs, the hips, just to find something that feels kind of balanced to what you were doing in the other direction. And then again, letting the belly soften. Letting the body be heavy. One more breath out. And come back to the center. Once again, feet resting down, your knees knocking against each other. If there's anything else that your body needs at the end of practice, any moves or shifts that are going to feel real good to you, go ahead and give yourself that. You can rest like this with knees bent, or start to slide your legs out, bringing your arms down by your sides. You could take a seated meditation, whatever feels good to you. If you're laying on your back, I like to wiggle the arm bones underneath the heart, just letting the heart be a little more open. Start to soften, return inwards. Continue just a few minutes of rest before we wrap up together. to wake yourself up, eventually rolling over to one side. Taking a moment to pause in gratitude for coming onto your mat today. And when you're ready, coming up to find your own version of a comfy seat. Bringing your hands together, feeling your heart lift up. Feeling practice, releasing one more Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to honor the love, the light, and the darkness that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you.